Hi guys, and welcome back to some more knots this evening with Des. So the next knot we're going to talk about is a mooring hitch. We recently just covered the round turn and 2/2 hitches, which is a really useful knot when you need to tie up to a post or a pillar, a fixed point. But it's quite, I wouldn't say permanent, but it's when you're going to tie up and say leave a boat moored for a long time. You're going to be there for a couple of hours. You know you're not going to be getting away anytime soon. So a round turn and 2/2 hitches is perfect for that. You can tie it up, leave the boat, not worry about it, come back and it will still be moored up there. The next one I'm going to talk about is called a mooring hitch. Really simple knot, and the benefit of this mooring hitch is easy to tie, very secure, but also can be released very quickly with just a single pull on the tail end of the rope. It's also more secure than the traditional slip knot, the slippery hitch. So I'm going to show you a slippery hitch here. So we take our rope round, we put like an overhand, a hitch knot in, but we put a slip in it like this. So we've got a bite coming through the loop, and we put it up onto our post. Now, over time, if the boat's jerking, I'm sure you can see what's happening here. And you can imagine that kind of action I've just done on the rope. I know that was quite fast, but you can imagine that kind of action on the rope just from wave action, just from people getting in and out of the boat. And you can see how if you were to tie up the boat with a slippery hitch like that, off you go. There's the boat drifting off with the current, and your best swimmer in after to try and catch it. Really not a secure way to tie the boat. So the mooring hitch itself is a kind of development on that slippery hitch. So the first thing is we're going to wrap the rope around the pole, whatever we're working on. And then on the tail end of the rope, so here's the standing end of the rope going towards the boat. On the tail end of the rope here, we're going to take a bite on that. And you can see how I take that bite, I've folded it underneath itself. We're then going to bring this end, this bite, down on top of the standing end, pull the standing end through that bite a little bit. So you can see here I've got a little bit of the standing end coming through. I'm then going to take the tail end, pass another bite through and underneath that standing end, and then I'm just going to tighten that up there. Now let's tighten this up nice and slowly so you can see. And the cleverer among you will have figured out that essentially what we've done is double up on our slippery hitches. We've kind of got a slippery hitch on top of a slippery hitch. So when we discussed how knots work at the start of the start of this sort of program, we discussed how it's friction, and the amount of rope that's in contact with itself is what's going to give you the friction. So you can see here that by having this slippery hitch through the standing end of the rope, any pressure pulling the standing end, all it's going to do is tighten up that slippery hitch. And then when we want to free it and release the boat, we pull on this tail end and we find the boat is released and ready to go like that. And we can then just throw this end of the boat and climb the boat when we need to. So let's look at that mooring hitch then through a ring. So we're going to wrap the rope around the pole. We're going to take a bite with the end, and you can see how I've taken that bite, I've folded it underneath like that. So I'm coming this way, and I've got that bit underneath. I'm going to take from the standing rope, going towards the boat, I'm going to take a little loop and I'm going to pull it up through. And then with my tail end, I'm coming back up over, putting that little bite through the standing end loop, and very slowly and gently tighten that up. Give myself a nice tight knot. There we go, nice and tight like that. And we can see that boat is going nowhere. When we want to then free it, we pull on our tail end, and I'm going to put a lot of pressure here on this end just to show you that even when the boat's under pressure, you can release it. Out it comes, it's free, and you can let the boat slip away or push it off with the current. Nice and simple and easy to do. It takes a little bit of practice to get it right, but once you've got it right and got it in your head, you can find this knot really easy to tie. And it's again one of those simple knots that when you walk down a dock and you look at boats, you kind of look at the knots that are tied and how they're tied up, and it kind of gives you an impression and opinion of the people that own and manage those boats and have tied it up, whether they're competent sailors, how competent or useful they are, and what kind of knot they use and why they use it. So if I walked along and I see a gig tied up at a regatta and tied up with a nice clean very simple mooring hitch like that, but it looks clean, looks good. It gives you an impression about the crew of that boat, that they're competent, they know what they're about, they know what they're doing. So it's something to look out for when you go to a regatta. See how people tie their boat up, what kind of knots they use, and how good and professional they look doing it. And this is where the practice of these knots comes in. So guys, that was the mooring hitch. We will be back this evening, hopefully, with some more hitches. Thank you for your time, and I will speak to you later.